We have a liftoff.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Real Bourbon Bros podcast. I am Steve, or I'm Steve.
Yes, you are. No. Are we exchanging
It's
places here?
it's
No.
like Freaky Friday or something. I am Gary.
No.
Steve is my brother.
I am
Steve
Steve.
is, and we
Yes.
are joined tonight by today, whenever you're listening to this, by a very special guest, Caryn Wells, National Brand Ambassador for Green River. Joins us tonight. Thank you, Caryn, for giving us a few minutes of your time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
And this is, 67?
Oh, episode. Yes, 67.
Yes.
I was like, I'm not 67. What are you talking about? That's weird.
Got to mention that 67.
Yeah, 67th episode.
Almost just 68, the best year of your life.
Steve gets sidetracked. Caryn, thank you again right off the bat for the samples you sent us from Green River. Obviously,
Yes.
those who are listening, if you haven't heard of Green River at this point, you're probably hiding under a rock. It's pretty widely distributed,
Yes.
and new releases are coming out almost every quarter, it seems like. So we're looking forward to talking to you, Caryn, about all the products that Green River has to offer that's out there, things that maybe are coming up. But we always start with every guest that we have on with a little bit of your personal past, how you came to Green River, your story, and it's usually kind of how we start and kind of go from there. So tell us how you got to Green River and the position you're at now. How did all that come to be?
How did all that come about?
How did you learn to become, learning to love whiskey and bourbon and all good things?
Well, truth be told, my love of spirits and particularly brown spirits came into play with my first career, my first professional career, which was public school teaching. That led me to drink. Yeah,
I get the connection.
Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, I've enjoyed bourbon or whiskey for many years, but how I got into the industry is just different than most people. I was a public school teacher for many years down in Florida, and then decided to do a 180 from teaching, but I didn't want to lose my state retirement that I had already acquired, from teaching. So I found a career in firefighting, which was also state retirement. So I became a firefighter and paramedic, and then I rose up through the ranks, and when I retired from firefighting, I was a lieutenant firefighter and a paramedic. Wow. So, and that was with Orange County Fire Rescue, which is the county that surrounds Orlando. Yep. So it was a great career. I loved both of them. Teaching had just changed a little bit, and firefighting, my gosh, once you get a taste of it, for a lot of people it's very scary, and it can be, but it's also very rewarding, and I loved every minute of it. But when I retired, I moved to Kentucky. I have family up here, and so I moved up to Kentucky, had no intentions of working full-time again, and I blame all of this journey that I'm on in bourbon on my aunt, who talked me into going to some bourbon meetings with her. And we were at the distillery one night drinking rye whiskey straight out of the barrel. And as everybody knows, rye is not something you immediately like. It's an acquired taste. It takes a minute. And it was really good. It was very, very good that night. And some people that I was sitting with worked at the distillery, and I casually mentioned to them that if they needed part-time tour guides, I was retired, I'd love to do it. And about a month later, my now colleague called me, and she said, "Listen, I know you were drunk, but were you serious?" Yeah. And I said, "Yes, I was. I was dead serious." So I started as a part-time tour guide, and that kind of rolled into full-time, and then the lead tour guide. And before you know it, when we got ready to launch the brand, they asked me if I wanted to be the national brand ambassador. And I said, "Well, what do I need to do?" And they said, "Well, you'll speak to people, you'll do education, you'll do tastings, podcasts, whatever needs to be done to promote the brand, and you'll have to travel." And I said, "And you're going to pay me to do this?" And they said, "Yes." And so I said, "Okay." I said, "Let's give it a shot." So I am the first national brand ambassador for Green
Wow.
River, and it's a true honor, and it's been an absolute blast watching the brand grow.
That sounds awesome. Okay, so from teacher, and so we have another teacher in
Yes,
the
I would say there's some
house.
correlation there with
So
me. I was a former teacher as well in Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did a
Yeah.
180 to the
yeah,
medical
career
field.
change.
So, yeah.
Yep. Not far off. I was paramedic, so
Yeah. Yeah,
we're right there.
Yeah.
exactly.
Hand
I
in
know the
hand.
struggle with I did middle school, so I know the struggle with the demographic sometime and the lack of support sometimes and the long hours and the parents that are always so
Un,
helpful. But oh
underpaid
yeah, we could
and
spend a whole podcast on that previous
we could do that. That's
careers.
another show.
Yeah, yeah,
That's episode 68,
yeah.
right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Mark it everybody in your calendars right now. No.
Yeah. That's
Education with bourbon.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Hey, you guys are great educators. I mean, Gary was a great teacher. He was my influence. Well, I'm his, I guess his
You
older
are.
brother, as you can
Yes,
maybe
you are.
tell.
Yes.
I didn't quite get ready for you know, a video podcast today, but hey,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
chicks love it. Uh, so no, Gary was, he started down the bourbon path, and I joined him. We had our first bouts of whiskey and trying different mixed drinks and all that. So yeah, it's education is by far
and,
the thing that I value in this bourbon
and I
community.
think and I
Yeah.
think the best education is sampling. The way
Yeah,
you determine what you like, where your palate is just by sampling.
okay.
And I started kind of more with the Scotch, and then kind of worked my way over to the bourbon, and then
Oh
then
yeah.
obviously the rye.
Kind of went
Well,
backwards.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know what I was
Wow.
thinking, but it was a little smoother, I think, at the time. I was like, oh, okay, neat, all right. I don't know, but and then rye, like you said in your how you had that rye straight from the barrel. That's something that
Yeah.
pretty much got into last. What was the? Do you remember the rye out of that barrel that you're sampling by chance?
Yeah. It was 95.5 rye,
Okay,
95% rye, 5% malted
very
barley.
nice,
Basically, it's what we have. It's one of our core products now, except that it was at barrel strength,
nice.
and it was, I think at the time it was like maybe 2 years
Okay,
old, which is unheard of, that rye at that age and that
yeah,
proof and at
Right.
that mash bill would be that flavorful and that smooth.
very nice, very nice. Yeah, I mean the core four, I guess we call it, right?
Yeah, that's what we
Yeah,
call it.
so Steve and I both got samples in. Thanks,
Yeah.
Karen, for sending us these samples of Green River 4 Core, which include straight Kentucky Straight Rye, Kentucky Straight Bourbon. I'm just looking at them right here in front of me, and full proof bourbon, as well as the weeded bourbon. So, of
Right.
those four, do you have a particular one that stands out maybe to you, or in terms of customer sales right off the bat? Like, what's the popular
You
one? Or
know, they're all doing well in their own category. People always ask me, what do you drink? What's your
hmm
go-to? And I will say, and I'm very honest with people. I'm not gonna, it all depends on the mood for
hmm
me. Weeded bourbon was not something that I was naturally drawn to begin
Mm,
with. However, as my palate has grown, I really enjoy a good weeded
mm,
bourbon. So yeah, I enjoy our weeded bourbon a lot. Our standard, we call our flagship, which is our high rye bourbon or the black
hmm
label. That is one of my daily drinkers. I enjoy that one all the time.
It's a
Yeah,
beautiful
that
bottle
that's
too.
it right there. It's 90 proof. It's really easy to drink. But if I'm going to come home after a long day and I just want one pour, just to kind of chill and whatnot, it is going to be my full proof. Yep. It
foolproof.
is
Yeah.
it is going to be our foolproof for sure. It is it's really taken the market by
Yeah,
storm.
Hmm.
And man, it's just so
yeah,
solid and so
beautiful.
consistent and so reasonably
Right.
priced too. I think that's from a consumer standpoint, that's important to me,
hmm
is that they're getting a quality product that's cheap, you
Well,
know.
yeah, that's affordable for everybody. That those who do, and Steve and I are huge high proof guys.
Yeah, cast strength
Yeah,
guys.
so
Yeah.
it's at one. The bottle I have is 117.9 proof, so that's right in that 110 to 120 range. I think is very doable, where you're not gonna knock you off on your butt the whole night, but it's enough to
Yeah.
really, fill the palate, have a good finish, and the nose too. Like for me, maybe this is just me being, I don't know what you want to call it, novice and some things with whiskey, but I think anything with a higher proof, typically the nose comes through a little bit more. I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of the time that's true for me. Maybe it's just my senses too, and
Got a lot of the alcohol
yeah,
evaporating
I don't know
into
what
your
it is. It just
nose.
drives it home for me.
No, that high proof was one of the, I think maybe the second bottle I bought. Oh, and so, Karen, Gary's in Tampa and I'm over here in Michigan, near Novi here. And the high proof, I brought that home and I tried it, and I had to text the store owner right away saying, "Oh my God, this is great. Have you tried this?" And then he got a single barrel in
Yeah.
too. And actually, I got a single barrel from a place down in Tampa too.
Yeah.
I see a couple of them sitting behind you there.
Whiskey Willie's, yeah. So I
Yeah.
got one from
Oh, Whiskey
Whiskey
Willie's, that's
Willie's.
a good
Yeah.
one.
No, we know
Yeah,
Wally real
and
well.
then yeah, yeah, we do. And then the other one's from Calvin Novi Party Store here. His single barrel. So, oh my God, yeah, they were great. I had to go in specifically and had him, make sure he sets one aside for me until I get in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great product, man.
They the single barrels have been going over extremely well. Of course, we were pretty limited the first year that we did them, and now we're growing. Of course, from a standpoint of how much do you do each year, how many do you release? It all goes with how much do we have. We didn't lay down as many barrels to begin with when we first started distilling, so therefore you have to set some aside for future, as well as what you currently have out on the market, and then we want to be really particular on our single barrels as well. We're not just going to let any barrel go into the single barrel program, so it's kind of a rigid thing for us, and it's a pride thing. Our one of our slogans is we're the pride of Owensboro, and we don't want anything going out there that isn't going to make not only our distillery and our brand proud, but our community proud as well.
No,
So
very nice. Yeah, just to piggyback on the topic of the single barrels, not to beat it to death, but the one Whiskey Willie had in Tampa, that single barrel, I've put that up at whiskey tastings against big brand name whiskeys, blind taste test, and that is always in the top third. It's always like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm like,
where
this,
do I
yeah,
get it?
exactly. I'm like, well, I'll sold out now and have to wait till next time. But
Yeah.
typically, what are the year statements for the single barrels?
So it's got to at least be 5 years old, and then at that point, it really goes by. The way that we do it is we have Wes James, who's our single barrel coordinator there at the distillery. Aaron Harris is our head distiller, and then myself. And some combination of the three of us will taste any sample of a barrel that's possibly going to go into the program. We all have three distinct palates. And really, enjoy different flavors and aromas and whatnot. So if two of us don't like the barrel, then the barrel's not going in the program. It's going to wait. We'll come back to it in a few months and see how it's doing. And I think that has given us, I won't say a foot up, but I mean, I do say that people, when they come to pick a barrel with us, or they're sent samples to pick, they have a hard time.
Yeah.
They can rule out one. Maybe they can rule out two right off the bat, but then the third and fourth one, it's a struggle for them, and they really have to decide. So I think that's a testament to how we hold ourselves accountable for those barrels and what's going into the program, and then the barrels themselves. They're really pulling out some wonderful flavors.
I agree.
Yeah, actually, you just made an announcement recently. Dan Calloway
Dan Calloway, yep.
being, I just saw something on Facebook on that being the one of the master distilleries.
So
Distillers?
his
Oh.
title got changed.
Changed? Okay.
He is now our master blender.
Master
So
blender. Got it.
Dan does the collaborations and anything that anything that we do on our Bardstown side of our family, and as well as when we're getting our our products ready for our 90 proof batches and whatnot. We want to maintain that profile. Sometimes you can get there nuances in them, and we want to keep it as steady as we can. And Dan's palate is phenomenal. He's obviously he's a sommelier, and he has just studied this stuff for forever. So I think it's a great testament to him and his ability to keep our products right where they need to be.
Nice. Congratulations, Dan.
It's a team effort.
Team effort.
Yeah, it is a team effort. It's
gotta be.
it's there's a lot of hands that touch this product before it actually comes out on the market. So I from our barrel rollers to our bottlers to everybody plays a role in it, and any job that is done at the distillery is just as important as the next man over. So or woman.
Yeah, exactly. And just to piggyback on that of everybody working together and coming up with great products, making sure everything is tip top before anybody selects these single barrels. A bottle that I've heard a lot about, and I'm trying to figure out how to get my hands on it. Maybe you know somebody. The single barrel weeded.
Ooh,
that I've been reading
Yes.
so many things about that. I'm like, how do I?
I was going to bring that up too. But thanks.
Yeah.
Like, how do I
So-
find this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the weeded single barrel. So again, I'll go back to when we first started distilling. The main mash bill that we laid down was 70 corn, 21 rye, 9 malt, which is it's our what we call our flagship. And then we started laying down weeded, and then we started
Right.
laying down rye. So, and you guys probably know this as well as most people. It takes a little longer for weeded to age, so you have to wait a little bit longer on it. So this year, we decided we were releasing 100 weeded single barrels. That's it, and that's for the entire nation. So we're in 45 different states right now. So every state got allotted X number of barrels. Every market did. And so my everybody's I get this asked a lot now. Where, when, can I get one? I always tell them, watch your stores, and watch, a lot of times the states are doing where the distributor gets the pick, so then every store can get 1 or 2 or 3 bottles or a case or whatever, and then some of your larger stores are going to get a full barrel themselves. And I'm sure that they're going to announce it that it's coming out. I know personally here in Owensboro, this past Saturday, one of our local stores released their weeded single barrel, and Aaron and myself, we were both there for it, and it sold out in less than an hour.
Oh, wow. This could be one of those
it's-
hot item whiskeys.
It is. They're
have
really
to know
good.
someone.
I'm not gonna lie. I hope you can get your hands on them. I know we released a couple of them at the distillery
Okay.
earlier this year, and they were gone in a day.
Really?
So it was, it's a hot item now. Everybody says, okay, when's the next one?
Yeah.
Are you going to do more? Sure, we'll do more. We will definitely do more. But again, we need to wait until we get, we want to make sure that, like I said before, anything that we put out there that has the Green River name on it, it has to meet a certain
Right.
standard. So we want to make sure it's good for the consumer.
I'll be calling Wally as soon as I get off this.
There you go.
It is.
There you go.
Exactly.
Calling all your favors.
Yeah, well, awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Definitely high on the list.
Yeah, at least getting some tasting of it.
Yeah.
It's a sample. That's it.
It's a
Yeah,
sample.
maybe
Just
just
a
a little
small,
100 milliliter.
Yeah, that's all
I'll
we
send
need.
it to you guys. You can fill it. That's fine. No.
Yeah.
You know a guy that knows a guy.
That's how it usually goes, right?
Yeah. So getting into Green River itself, we like to do a little bit of kind of a history lesson. Green River isn't named after the band, right?
Yeah, no. No.
So
Although CCR
What to
did write
say?
some songs, and so did,
CCR
so did
did.
John Prine. John Prine wrote
Yeah.
a song about it. Yeah, yeah. So we're
we
not.
had that on our show previously when we were talking about Green River, probably last year, Gary,
Yeah,
right?
we did a
I'll have to look up that
CCR
episode,
cameo.
but-
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
can you share with us a little bit about what you know and tidbits about the history?
Sure. So it goes all the way back to 1885, and that's when J.W. McCulloch founded it. I think what's important for consumers to understand is we're one of the rare distilleries, especially in Kentucky, that we're on our original property. And that's huge because, a lot of times the distilleries burn, they go dormant, they get relocated, whatever the case may be, but we are actually on the original property. And Green River for 33 years was very well known for three major things. And it was the most widely advertised whiskey in the world. It was the most expensive whiskey ever sold. And then the third, and for me is always the most important, and it was the official whiskey of the United States Marine Hospital and Public Health Services. And so all three of those things happened from 1885 to 1918. And, when you think about the time period back then, to be the most widely advertised whiskey in the world, it won awards in Paris and it won awards in Italy. So how long did it take them to get the product over there? They didn't ship bottles and then bottle it.
Yeah,
It was
barrels.
wooden crates with glass bottles. So I think that's important to understand. I always tell people we are distributed in Australia.
Wow.
And we sent product to them back in October of 2023, and they got it in January of 2024. So in this day and age, that's how long it took. Now back it all the way up to the
Months.
late 1800s, early 1900s. The second thing being the most expensive whiskey, again, kind of goes with a wide advertisement as well. So in Colorado, shares of a Colorado gold mine called the Forest Queen were traded for 20 barrels of Green River whiskey. Well, that mine ended up panning out, and that made Green River the most expensive whiskey ever sold. You like that? You like that little pun in there too?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and so if you go out to Colorado, the Stanley Hotel, which is well known, right, and the Broadmoor Hotel, two different locations out there, they both had old bottles of Green River found in the walls. So again, all over the place, But the Marine Hospital is always the one that really sticks to me. So, pre-Prohibition whiskey was medicinal.
Right.
And in 1897, the federal government decided to do a spirits contest to award a distillery to be the official whiskey of the United States Marine Hospital and public health systems. So if you went to the doctor back then, that's where you went. And, you'd get a script for whiskey, and then you go take it to the pharmacy and get it filled. Well, Green River won the contract in 1897, and then they had to apply for that contract every year after that. So for the next 18 years, Green River was the official whiskey of the United States Marine Hospital. And on the old bottles, it'll say official whiskey U.S. Marine Hospital 12 years, 13 years, 15 years, 18 years. So that, it's real. You can touch it history.
Yeah.
And I think in this day and age, that's super important for consumers. And it means the world to us. So,
Especially with the...
That's it.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and just looking at the bottle too, we always have this, the horseshoe on the bottom.
Got to turn it right side up now.
Yes, I'm sorry. Before my luck runs out. Yes. So, do you have any information about how the bottle has changed?
It's top secret. I can't tell you.
Oh shoot. We'll have to.
So the original bottle. The original bottle was just your basic bottle back then. There were no, no fanciness to it. But the label had a horseshoe on it, and that's why we put the horseshoe made the bottle in the shape of a horseshoe. We call this history in a bottle because we needed to honor the history of the brand. So the horseshoe was done on purpose to honor that original logo. If you feel all the bottles up here, you can even see it. It's kind of bumpy.
Yeah.
That's to emulate the rivets that were encompass that horseshoe that was on the original logo.
Wow.
Then we put on the top of them, we put the faux tax stamp, and that's a picture of the Green River, right?
Yep.
So keep that.
Details.
We embossed Owensboro, established 1885, and on the back we also put DSPKY10.
Yep.
And we boldly put that on the front of all of our labels too, DSPKY10. So that's really important because when you're a distiller anywhere in the United States, you get a DSP number. It stands for Distilled Spirits Plant. So, Gary, you're in Florida. So, if like, say, St. Augustine
Mhm.
is DSP-FL, and then whatever number Florida hands out,
Sure.
right? Steve, in Michigan, it would be DSP-MI, and then whatever number Michigan hands out.
Mm.
Well, in Kentucky, we're DSP-KY, but in Kentucky, our numbers were handed out in order. And they stay with the distillery or they stay with the original owner. And ours stayed with our property. So we're DSP-KY 10.
Wow.
We are the 10th oldest licensed distillery in the state of
Nice.
Kentucky.
Nice.
And that's important
Yeah.
for purposes brands that, okay, you haven't heard of Green River, who's ahead of you, who's behind you. Well, Maker's Mark is 44.
Wow.
Buffalo Trace is 113. Jim Beam's 230.
Wow.
So that gives you an idea of just how old this brand is. And that's why it was important, for us to get this distillery back up and running, because back in the day, Owensboro was bigger than Frankfort. We were bigger than Louisville. We were bigger than Lexington. And Bardstown. We had about 50 active distilleries in Owensboro. And then
Wow.
they all just kind of faded away when Prohibition hit. Nobody knew how long it was going to last. And, they're gone.
Yeah. Wow. No, I was a former history teacher too, by the way. So that was all very, very,
Yeah.
very stimulating for me because it's like two things I love, whiskey and
I
history.
was going to ask
so-
about that DSP KY too, because it's pretty
Yes.
prominent on most of your
Yes.
bottles.
Very proud
So
of that.
We-
Yeah.
We're very proud
Yeah.
of it. From the Kentucky Distillers Association, when we brought Green River back home, they used a very poignant word for me, and that's hallowed ground. We are on hallowed ground. That property has only been a distillery. Originally, it was Green River. After Green River burned in 1918, and the brand never really came back after Prohibition, but the grounds stayed a distillery, and the Medley family owned it. And the Medleys are local to Owensboro, and they ran distilling operations there for almost 60 years. And so that was huge. And they made some great products when they had it. And they shut it down, and then it was revived in 2014. And again, back to being a distillery.
Nice.
So it's kind of fun.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, and obviously with the great whiskey, you always want a great place to kind of have folks come to taste it if they can't maybe find it in their state or wherever, or abroad. Tell us a little bit about the, I guess you would call it the distillery, where people can come visit in
The
Owensboro.
estate, yeah.
Grounds?
I
Yeah.
don't think we've been there, have we, Gary?
I don't think we
So,
have. We've been up
No.
there. I know. I'm trying to go later this year, Steve. We have to put it on the list.
Yeah, we'll have to put it on the list. We're trying to hit all the ones that that we've talked to, all the people we've had on.
Yeah.
We're trying to hit everyone up. So if you have a place there, we'd love to hear about it.
We do. We sit on 26 acres. A little anomaly that we're back in the day. The Ohio River is literally right behind the distillery, so we sit on the Ohio River. But back in the day, people worked and lived right around where they worked. So we are in a neighborhood. So you drive through neighborhoods. You're like, really? I'm going to a distillery and it's right here. But that's where we are. We're kind of landlocked now, but we're on 26 acres. We have a visitor center. We have which is really cool. It's the old bottling house that the Medleys used to use. So that's really cool. It's a neat place just to walk in. You feel the old vibes on it.
Yeah.
We do tours Wednesday through Saturday. It's been considered one of the best tours on the Bourbon Trail. We're small but mighty, I guess you can say. And you go into the still house and you're going to be like less than 10 feet from our still, and it's a 54-inch in diameter 4-story column still. That it's a beast. Everybody always asks me, what's the name of your still? And I named it myself. I just call it a big ass still because that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, and you go through fermentation. We have 27 fermentation tanks, and then you get to go out into one of the rick houses and just take it all in. And we're very unique. The rick house that you get to go in as a visitor is a clay tile rick house, and they are not common in the industry at all. It was an expensive way to build rick houses, but we have 5 of them, and we use them all the time. So we have 5 clay tile. We have 27 altogether, but the one that we take all our visitors in is a clay tile one, which is just really cool. You you feel the history, and then you're taking in all that angel share, and
Yeah.
it's great. I
I
love
bet,
it. I
I bet
love it.
all the dads and well, even the moms for that matter in that neighborhood really enjoy that smell.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
I'm not
That's so
saying
I
they
mean,
cool.
do.
I
That's what I'm
would
saying.
personally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't speak for everybody
yeah,
else,
I'm sure they do coming
but
home. They look
yeah,
forward to coming home. For the
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And especially in the fall when
Yeah.
it's really, you're getting some good aromas
Yeah.
there.
So you have, do you just have tastings at the visitor center as well, or
Oh
okay,
yeah,
just the
yeah, yeah,
tastings if
yeah.
they
So
want to do that?
you can do a full tour and tasting if and you do have to climb stairs, and there's loud noises. Obviously, we're an operational distillery,
Right.
so if that climbing stairs and loud noises isn't your thing, then we call them sit and sips. You can just
Nice.
sit and get the history and
Nice.
taste through the
Nice.
products. We have a bar. You can just come in
Yes.
and have cocktails if you don't want to do anything,
Yeah.
anything other than that. So yeah,
A
there's a
little bit for
variety of
everybody.
things. We have a barrel thieving tour. If you're
Ooh,
into
yeah.
you want to do the tour, but you don't want to just taste the core four, you want something different, then you can do the barrel thieving tour, and that's really cool too. So you get
Nice.
to go up on the second floor of the warehouse and thieve straight from the
Nice.
barrels, and
Yes.
that's always fun.
Steve, we Steve, we
To
got to make it happen.
Yeah, that's. I think we got to pick out our dates. We have such a busy summer already, but we'll find a
well,
way.
you'll figure it out. You'll take one for the
Of
team and
course,
figure it out.
Gary. You're down there. You can enjoy the Florida
90 is
and
like
so
90,
forth. You're on
94
vacation.
here in humid. What do you mean enjoy it? It's not
Well,
that fun.
better in Michigan where it's rainy and
Should be
cold here.
perfect in Kentucky, I bet.
I bet you.
No, Kentucky, we've been getting hammered with storms,
Oh
so
yeah, that big one that
we
came
Oh,
just.
how,
through.
I was actually a little nervous about tonight because about 30 minutes before we started this, we were getting a pretty
Yeah.
nasty storm. I'm like, please don't let
Wi-Fi
tornadoes
work.
break down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's like
gosh.
this could have gotten
was
ugly, but it didn't.
was the Green River hit by any of the higher waters that like Buffalo Trace and
Whatever.
others got hit by,
Yeah,
or no?
no, we were fortunate. We were spared. Now the city itself, yeah, we had flooding in the
Mm,
city, but we had enough
Okay,
of a berm, and there's a leeway in between the end of the
yeah,
distillery property and the river itself. So we were fortunate with that. But it's been a fun year. I mean, we've had unnatural storms that have come
yeah.
through Kentucky.
Strong.
We've had a lot of hailstorms.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of tornadoes. So just a different year this year.
yeah.
So
It
we'll,
was, yeah, surely.
this too shall pass. It's no different than Florida and
Yeah. Oh boy.
hurricanes
Yeah. That just
and
that's another
everything.
what
So
2 weeks that starts. So yeah, everybody's.
yeah,
Ooh.
get ready. Fun
Oh
times.
boy.
So speaking of spirits and so forth, what is your favorite go-to spirit, Karen? I mean, out of everything, like we're talking, Scotch, bourbon,
Ooh.
whiskey,
Gin.
Ooh,
gin. I wouldn't say
gin.
vodka and gin because
I'm not a
that's
big gin
No, no, I
girl.
was joking.
maybe rum. I mean, what's new and up and coming? What are you trying
Jägermeister.
nowadays? Or what's your go-to right now?
Well, I think for me, I honestly really enjoy bourbon. That's my thing. I was recently out in Colorado and tried some single malt, and that was
Mm-hmm.
very good.
Mm-hmm.
Some older finished single malt. That
Brannahan's.
was
Yeah.
I was surprised that I enjoyed it
Mm.
as much as I did because single malt to me is one of those things
Yeah.
that if made right, it's really good. If not, it can be a little
Yeah.
edgy.
Yeah.
But no, I'm a bourbon girl. I really just enjoy having bourbon, and I enjoy it neat. But I enjoy a good cocktail that's well balanced as also. I in the summertime I tend to go towards the fruitier
Mm. Love it.
cocktails, even using bourbon. I love a good espresso
Mm.
martini made with bourbon
Oh yes.
instead of vodka. That's my latest thing that I
Interesting.
really enjoy. And then in the wintertime, I like the ryes.
Yeah.
A little bit more of a punch, a little bit different flavor. The spices are a little different, so I really enjoy that in the wintertime. But no, I pretty much just stick to the brown spirits.
Yeah.
That's me.
We can relate.
And not to make you not name your favorite bourbon or like is there any brand or anything, I mean, outside of Green River that Your
Oh yeah, people ask me that all the time. If you're not drinking Green River, what are you drinking?
yeah. Oh,
So
wow.
it's like that's a fair question. I mean, there's a lot. There's so many good bourbons out there,
There is.
and I'm like anybody else. Of course, I'm partial to my brand because it's my brand, and
Yeah.
I enjoy it. But if I can't get Green River, I love our Bardstown High Wheat. I think that's phenomenal. That just came out. I love our rye, our finished rye that's with Bardstown. But I also like a good Elijah Craig. I like a good Knob Creek. I like Maker's
Yeah.
46 and some of the finishes on those. Those are good. They're really there's a lot of good stuff out there. So
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
it's there's no bad bourbon. There's just bourbon that sits better on your palate than somebody
Yeah.
else's, and that's how I
And
look
never
at
throw it
it.
away.
Yeah.
You got to drink before you throw it away.
You don't waste it.
Well, I always tell people when we're trying bourbon and stuff, and I'm doing classes where I'm doing sensory trainings and things like that. I always tell them, I don't care what bourbon it is, you taste it neat first, and then you enjoy it on ice or with a drop of water. Because if you don't take at least 2 sips of it neat, you're not doing yourself or that bourbon any good. You have to let it speak for itself, and instead of cutting it right off the bat. And there's nothing wrong with cutting it. It's just give it a chance first.
Yeah.
You know,
I
give it
tell
a
that to my
chance.
wife
Very good
all the
advice.
time.
Very good advice. Just try it neat.
I have a quick
Yeah.
hitter for you. Then obviously we want to talk a little bit about the future of Green River. I know we have a big announcement coming up here. What was your first legal whiskey drink, if you remember?
Ooh. Legal?
See, yes,
Yes.
legal.
Let me see.
If you can remember, the first one that sticks out to
If you
you.
can remember.
Honestly, it's my first. It was my first legal, and it probably ruined me at the same time. But on my birthday, my boyfriend at the time got me Bacardi 151,
Ooh,
and that was
it was all over.
Yeah.
that was it.
Well,
That was it.
you can't get any closer to legal than that.
No, and it was
That
ugly.
evening was
It
cut
was
short.
pretty.
On your birthday.
But I still like rum, but just we
Right,
got to bring
right,
it
right.
down a little bit. It was a rough, I thought I was ready. I wasn't ready.
Wow, I don't think anybody's ready
Sorry,
for that.
sorry for Gary to bring
You
that
gotta
up.
have like
so.
Yeah, that's
turpentine
okay.
before you're ready for that. I don't know, or
Yeah.
paint thinner or something. All right. Well, thank you for humoring us with those quick hitters. We do have some important news, though. Green River, I think,
Yes.
just announced, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Let me. Can I bring up one
Sure.
thing first before
Yeah.
we do? I don't know how many people know with our lineup of Green
Yep.
River that our weeded bourbon and our high rye bourbon are mirror images of each other, except that the flavoring grain has changed. So by that I mean the weeded bourbon is 70% corn, 21% soft red winter wheat, 9% malted barley at 90 proof, 5 years old.
Yep.
That's a 5-year-old profile. The black label, our flagship, is 70% corn, 21% rye, 9%
Okay.
malted
Okay.
barley, 90 proof, 5-year-old flavor profile. So when I always tell people, when you have somebody new and they're trying to decide, do I like a weeded bourbon or do I
Yeah.
like a rye
There you
bourbon?
go.
All right, yeah.
Grab both of them. Pour them, let them sit out for about 10 minutes, let them get some air, let them breathe, and then try it. And you can literally see the difference between a weeded bourbon and a high rye bourbon.
Straightforward.
It's straightforward. There's no, I mean, literally mirror images, just that flavoring grain has been changed. And I think that's huge to put out there for consumers that are trying to figure out what they like. So often I hear people tell their friend, well, if you're trying to like bourbon, start with a weeded bourbon. It's going to be smoother on your palate.
Yeah.
Sweeter, sweeter.
And
yeah.
that's not true. Everybody's palate is different. And it very well could be smoother for some people, but it very well could be hotter for others. So I always tell people for $70, you can buy 2 bottles. You literally have the difference between a weeded bourbon and a high rye
Yeah.
bourbon.
Controlled experiment right there, guys.
It is.
Two
It is a
great
very
bottles,
controlled
too.
experiment. Yeah.
Excellent
Yeah.
point. Yeah, I think that is a mistake or a misconception a lot of people have about the wheated versus the rye. It's just you gotta give them both a
Yeah.
chance. Apples to apples, right? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
apples
Yeah, that
experiment.
and I will say on our rye whiskey, it's a 95%
Mm-hmm.
rye, 5% malted barley.
Mm-hmm.
And rye, as we were talking earlier, is an acquired taste. But I describe our rye as a bourbon lover's rye.
Mm.
And the reason that I do that is because we use the same yeast strain when we made that rye
Mm.
as when we make our bourbon.
Okay.
So therefore you're carrying a lot of similarities over. When you nose it, it doesn't even nose like it's a 95.5 rye.
Mm.
95.5 rye
Yeah.
should kind of burn your
Yep.
senses and be very peppery, very, very,
Right,
as I
right.
like to say to people, it's all up in your business, and you don't want that.
Invasive.
It
Yeah.
really is. Excuse me, yeah, and you're gonna see that it's much fruitier, but then when you taste it, it's earthy and dry like it should be for a rye,
Mm.
but it doesn't have all the pepper. It has more of the baking spice kind of flavors to it. So
Excellent.
I just think I
Yeah.
think the products are phenomenal in that respect.
Yeah, I think our audience would love that piece of advice, especially with the price points where they're at. They can do that experiment.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
not going to feel like they're, breaking the bank, and they get to taste a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and in the end, they can
Yep.
figure out, well, okay, I'm a high rye, or I'm a wheated
That's
bourbon.
that's
Yeah,
exactly it.
perfect.
That's exactly
Very
it.
good.
Yep.
Steve, do you
Very good
know
advice.
what's coming up here on June 14th? What anniversary it is?
Oh, Flag Day. Besides that,
Like
Well, it's
it's Flag Day, June 14th. Besides, it's my birthday,
and
and most importantly, Green River is
well,
giving us
what are we
a
doing?
yeah. Well,
special
it's a 250th anniversary of
commemorative
It's
yeah
250th anniversary of
U.S. Army.
the
the
United
U.S. Army.
States Army.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
the United States Army. So we are very honored
Mm-hmm.
to be the official whiskey of the United States Army and their 250th celebration. So this is going to be coming out on June
Mm-hmm.
14th, and a lot of symbolism went into
Mm-hmm.
making this product. Coming out on its birthday, it's the 250th
Yep.
birthday. The proof on it is
111.
111.1. So if you put that together, it's 11/11,
Mm-hmm.
November 11th.
Mm-hmm.
So we did all of that, and it's a different mash bill. It's 4 to 7 years old, and it's this one's going to be 77% corn, 14% rye, and 9% malted barley. So it's a little
Oh,
bit
very
different
nice.
mash bill, a little higher corn, bringing the rye down just a smidge on that, and it's really going to be a stellar product. And then it's always important for us, our CEO and our vice president of strategic initiatives, they are both retired colonels
Wow.
from the military. So it's very
Wow.
important for us as the Lofted Spirits brand that we always give back. And we do something for our military families, and so a portion of this is going to be donated back to supporting soldiers and their families for the resources that they need to carry on with their life and anything that they may endeavor after serving our country. So it's super
Yeah,
important
that's
for
a
us.
huge announcement, and we're definitely looking forward to it. Our dad was U.S. Army veteran as well, so
Yes. And my daughter is currently in the Army, so
yeah.
Yeah,
So definitely
there you
was,
go.
for
Yeah,
family as
very
well.
good.
So the release
Yeah.
is. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. No, it'll be available. You'll see it on military bases, and you'll see it in all of the different entities around, all the stores around. They all have access to it. So we're super excited about it. And label was designed in conjunction with the Army, and just a lot of nuances on it. So I think it's going to be it's important for us to do
Yeah.
to give back and to support our
Yes.
military.
absolutely.
USA. We definitely
awesome.
agree with that 110%. So hopefully
wait.
it'll be out for everybody. I know it comes out June 14th at select bases, and then hopefully the rest of the summer everybody can get out there and find it and support the U.S. military, U.S. Army. We're 110% behind that. But great product to look forward to, and everybody else, until then, all the Green River products are out there right now. So get to
Yep.
the stores, very affordable prices. for the core four, the rye, the straight bourbon, the full proof bourbon, and the weeded bourbon are all out there right now.
And
Yeah,
look for those single barrels too.
Oh, well.
Those are
The
really
single barrels too. Yeah, you
find
can
those.
go on to greenriverwhiskey.com and you can go into our products. And when you scroll down to the bottom, there's a map of the United States. Type in your zip code and it'll pop up every store, restaurant, bar in your area. You can put the radius 10 miles, 50 miles, 100 miles, whatever. And it'll show you everywhere where you can
It's
get it.
easy to use
So,
website. I was there looking earlier today for the weeded single barrel.
yeah.
Well, I think that's all I have for you tonight.
That's gonna be
Karen,
nice.
Steve, you have something else for Karen?
No, I do not. I thank you so much, Karen,
Yeah.
for jumping on.
You're
Thank
quite
you for
welcome.
the samples. Green River has just been a great whiskey of my choice. In the last year or so since I've been introduced to it. Hopefully, better things coming out.
That's the plan.
Okay.
Future's bright.
Right,
The
plan.
future's bright.
Okay, thanks, Karen, again for your
We
time.
will definitely come visit you
Yes.
when we're down there in
Hopefully later
Kentucky.
this year.
By all means, come see us.
All right.
Thanks, everybody, again for listening. Till next time. Yeah.
Cheers.
Enjoy. Cheers.
Till next time. Giddy up.
All right. Enjoy.